You've been really active on social media trying to get games. Can you just kind of update us with where your schedule is right now?
Yeah, so it's funny you asked that because it's crazy. I have to go to result in social media to get a game, but we could not get one. And to be honest, before all these cancellations with COVID happened, it took me like probably 8 months to fill the last two spots. So like before that, it was getting harder because we were getting better, and no one wanted to play in McHale in front of 15,000 people. So that was already a challenge. So like I filled it, let's say like 6, 7 before COVID, right before COVID, or no, during COVID, I think I filled it. And then some stuff happened. And then like probably I filled the last two, like for sure, because one changed like, I don't know, a month ago. And then it got canceled last week. So went on social media. I said, okay, forget it. I'm just going to tweet out because we need games. So had no luck. Okay. Some stuff wouldn't work out, but there was teams like New Mexico State that were in Tucson and didn't want to play. So I was like, okay, GCU didn't want to play. It just was frustrating not being able to get regional people because it saves both of us so much money. So the only really close regional game is NAU. So last night I get a call from a friend of mine. He must have saw it on Twitter, and I know him. He's a coach from just a school not that far. I don't want to say yet because we don't have it confirmed. But he was like, "Hey, we can make the 23rd work." And I'm like, 23rd is not that great for us. I said, what about the 22nd? He said, we can only do the 23rd. And I said, okay, deal. So I sent it off to our people. So I'm putting the contract out. So now that's for one more, but we still need one more.
So
So for NAU Sunday, that would be right before Christmas on the 22nd or 23rd, would be the 23rd. And that's not finalized yet, but I'm still trying to find one more.
so how worrisome is it that the season starts today and you guys have one game and then it sounds like you have a second game? I mean, and you have a Pac-12 to prepare for, and it's the best conference in the country.
Yeah, I guess I probably, when you put it like that, I should be worried. I wasn't thinking about it like that. I was kind of like, oh, it's okay. But now the way you made it sound, it makes me worry a little more. I just think, I mean, I can't control it. I'm trying everything. I'm confident. So the bad thing is now just with the dates, I don't like the gaps. So we're playing on 29th on Sunday. Then we're going to go into Pac-12. Like, that's not ideal. But I can't control that. So what I'm just going to do is keep on giving us game prep stuff this week, early next week too, and I just can't control it. So basically, we're going to have one game that to USC, going to UCLA, USC. Not ideal. But there was nothing I can do because, to be honest, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, the last 3 days I had half the team out. So I couldn't even. I was looking at games for this week, but I wasn't going to go into like a Louisville or a really tough game this week without half my players. I had 8 players in quarantine because we've had, so like with basketball, there's been a lot of false positives. So one of our players tested positive on the antigen twice, and then so you can't play. You get quarantined. So everybody around her was quarantined because they've been around each other in cars at dinner. And then so that happened, and you have to wait for a PCR negative. Well, the PCR took like 2.5 days. So I had 8 players out for 3.5 days. So they just came back like at like 1 o'clock. At 12 o'clock I found out yesterday. Practice was at 1. So I just got them back. So that kind of like stalled my search for a game also. So welcome to COVID life.
So that the positive test, was it a false positive or was it?
Yeah, it was a false positive. So it's happened a lot. But the problem is, it's like, I guess if you get a couple false positives, there's certain people that have not had COVID and they always trigger a positive. So our school is unique in the sense, we measure the amount of positive, but sometimes that could be for leftover from a residual from the machine. So like, let's say it's a 1 to a 600, like so one of ours can test like a 2 or a 1.8. That's considered a positive, but we're a school that says, okay, we retest and we do a PCR. So I think other schools would just have said that's a positive. So we had another. So the problem was she tested twice positive with the antigen, like the rapid test. It's less accurate. But for us, the more accurate is the PCR. But the problem with the PCR is it has to be administered by like like an agent, like a doctor. So they have to go and like put something in it. So you can't get it back in a day. I think the challenge is going to be, because if that was a game day, they would have missed. I would have gone into game with like 7 people. So I think for us, we go back and we have a lab and we do a PCR. But on game days, I think they're going to have a resolution for that. But like this happened on Saturday, so they were out Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and they came back just afternoon Tuesday. So those are the challenges like me as a coach deals with. It's really hard.
What does it feel like that it's game week? Because you actually have a game Sunday.
It honestly doesn't feel like game week because up until yesterday, I didn't think I had a game. So it doesn't even feel like game week. Um, and I've had 8 players out for 3.5 days my opening week. So it's just kind of that's not ideal for me. So I'm not even in game mode. It doesn't even feel like a comfortable, typical day week. So I have to adjust. So the players that were out the last few days, this was a day off for the team. They're going in today. So it's a kind of a disaster a little bit. But I only can control what I can control. So now I'm just like in preparation mode. So my prep this week will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which is kind of typical in between, like in our Pac-12 weeks. So I'm not that worried, but I'll feel more game week on Thursday.
So I know you were talking about you guys didn't last time we talked to you didn't know the regulations and the rules for the sideline. Can you give us any indication what that might look like come Sunday?
I don't really know. So we got some regulations, like a 38-page document 2 days ago, and then we've got revisions to the document the last 2 days. So I have like a pile of someone just dropped like all these papers off last night. So I have to go through all that because it's a couple things have changed twice now in the 2 days since that 38-page document. So as far as I know, we are going to have the national anthem. We're going to have a moment of solidarity, but those timelines have changed in 2 days. So I believe it was at 3, now it's at 5. So I have to look. I don't even know what the final is. But I know our bench is going to be spread out. There's a certain number I have to keep like our bubble to on the court. So all those things. But I honestly yesterday just saw the layout and I have a meeting right after this at 11 o'clock. So it's going to give me most of that information because I don't know a lot of it. I know we're going to have parents at the games and family, but I honestly don't know how long that's going to last because the numbers are spiking so bad. And I think it's hard for us as coaches. I have all my players. Well, half of them have their families coming in on Thanksgiving, coming from hot places, coming on planes, and they're going to see their kids. So it puts our season at risk. So I think that what we're going to see maybe until things calm down is possibly no families like at Stanford, because then you're not having so many people fly in because if they can't attend a game, they might not fly in.
So you have a game, you got NAU, and do you have to cram a lot into that game since it's the only game you get before your conference game? I mean, what are you trying to achieve? Where do you want to be at the end of that game, I guess?
Yes, I just want us to. So what I want to achieve from that game, obviously, we put our uniforms on. It's different. It feels different. I want to work some different combinations in game situations. Sorry if you guys hear someone crying. And then my goal is to just let us see what it feels like because the bench is different, the atmosphere is different. We have all these cutouts. It's different than 7,000 fans. It looks different. Like the gym looks different with the banners. So it's all unique. So my goal is for us to get kind of comfortable doing that and see what it's like and just get a run through before we play. Because when I'm doing like scrimmages, so it's just so you guys don't know, I know you guys don't know this, but I'm trying to do scrimmages sometimes to kind of prep us for Sunday. And I never can do a scrimmage because we never can get the officials because the officials never can get their test back. So I've been trying to simulate that and like put the bench at practice. So like last week we had one. And it's funny because on Saturday we had refs coming. We only ended up having one ref because the second ref didn't get their test in time. And then that was the day everybody got sent home. So I had all the benches set up. I'm just telling you guys this. I didn't advertise this, obviously. But I had the benches set up. I had us all ready for game mode to practice for the game. And then the team got wiped out right before. So we're walking to the gym. They contact traced, and everybody was outside the gym and had to go home. So, like, I haven't even been able to have a practice run because, like, we can't even get officials. And then the Pac-12 sends officials. Our school's protocol isn't allowing the Pac-12 officials because of testing. So we've had to go get local officials, but they're relying on like Walgreens or something like that. And now it's so full, you're not getting your test back. And it has to be within a certain window. It has to be within 72 hours. So it's been like, I can't even practice for that. So Sunday's going to be the practice. Like it's going to be not the practice because they're a good team, but it's going to be the run through for the real Pac-12 opening.
In terms of what you're going to do with, with the team itself, who plays and who plays when and all that kind of stuff. Again, being that it's one game before you start conference, how different is this game going to be than, say, an opener where you've got 3 or 4 or 5 other games before you start conference play?
It's going to be different in the sense that I think you have the luxury. Well, normally we have like 11, 12. So normally I would be giving a lot of young players experience. I would be playing everybody if I can. I would be like just doing more combinations and more just different strategy. So now I will do less of that because I have to do probably the main combinations I want to go into the Pac-12 with, which will look different. Like before, I could have probably worked like 7 rotations and 7 lineups because I work up lineups before. Now I would probably have to go with like 4 or 3 because, and there is a situation where I could lose players, but I have to go like assuming I have the whole team and go with the combinations that I really need to work together for like a UCLA USC. Normally I would have probably had, the least experienced person, or we have a walk-on. I would try to get her minutes in this non-conference because I knowing that she won't get minutes in the conference, but I just don't have the luxury of doing that. So it's going to be challenging for a lot of players because the unfortunate thing for me, I'll have to make decisions. There's going to be a lot of good players that aren't going to be able to play this year because we're going right in the conference that would have played, in the non-conference.